This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Tom, we're talking about again World Teacher Day. Who is your favorite teacher growing up at any point?
Oh, gosh. Well, I had a teacher in the second grade who also taught me in the fifth grade. She thought I was a genius, Miss Glore at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. I will say her.
She thought you were a genius?
She thought I was pretty special. They tried to advance me a grade, but my parents wouldn't have it because I was young. So anyway, she boosted my ego pretty good.
You're a brainiac. I had no idea.
I don't act like one or talk like one, but thanks.
Well, Tom, there's going to be plenty advancing of the football on Saturday night, definitely by Ole Miss, and Arkansas fans are hoping for the same as well. One of the things that Chuck was talking about with Coach Pittman last night is being able to bounce back after Ole Miss scores. We saw that against LSU, didn't see that so much against A&M. How do you think they're going to be able to do that on Saturday night in Oxford?
Well, it's just a function of trusting your team, trusting the scheme, trusting your teammate, and what you read and how you execute plays on offense. You can dissect this game in a lot of different ways. Ole Miss had 703 yards on Arkansas last year, but they scored 6 points in the first half. If you get a timely turnover, Drew Sanders had a pick. Jackson Dart didn't see him, and some other things happened in that game that Arkansas jumped all over them. I'm not sure if Sam Pittman and them were very comfortable. Even after Rocket Sanders started the second half with that long touchdown run, it was 42-6. You're adding it up in your head. Is there time? And it almost felt like there was time. So Ole Miss can be very, very explosive, but you got to get a few timely stops, maybe a turnover or two, and then Arkansas's got to find a way to be more productive. Their offense has got to move the ball. We haven't seen a game yet where they just really leaned on their run game and just kind of dominated, took control of the game the way they were in some games last year.
Tom, Coach talked about the shuffling along the offensive line, said he liked what he's seen on Monday and Tuesday, going to carry that into practice. Devin Manuel, they were kind of resting to make sure he was ready for Saturday. Sounds like we are definitely going to see changes along the offensive line come Saturday night.
Yeah, it looks pretty certain. And the thing is, Tokutis at center, he's played there before. Limmer, maybe he's more comfortable playing the guard position. Certainly Cam Ball was excited to see Bo Limmer back at guard. That's just being a good teammate, if you ask me about Cam Ball and what he said on Tuesday night. But it's hard to think that you could make these changes and go into a game and not have any, just any slip-ups on what position am I? Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm left guard now, or you know what I mean, on what your responsibility is. But they feel like it's something that will get guys more concentrating on what they're doing, and maybe they can let things fly a little bit more. But as Sam Pittman said, they had to try something. And you can't just keep thinking, well, we're going to do what we do, and we're just going to do it better, because they didn't do it very well against A&M.
Is the key or the biggest move in all this kudos to center, just because of the snap, because it's the middle of the line, because A-gaps left and right of you? Is that the most important move to work out in all of this?
Well, probably so, because he's touching the ball on every play, but it all interlocks, right? Brady Latham over at right tackle, how will he hold up? That's been a problem. There's been pressure off the right side. Well, there's been pressure off the left side as well, but to me, they've got to find a way to get some push on the line and have a good read from KJ. And as Sam Pittman said, running backs got to make some guys miss, got to run with authority, got to run where the hole is going to be to get some confidence going in that run game.
Talking with Tom Murphy here this morning on the McCarty-Daniel Hotline. Tom, you mentioned again Rocket being back. Coach addressed that a couple times yesterday on several media occasions. Do you think he's 100% heading into this game, or is he still kind of recovering with the swelling of his knees that he's been dealing with the last few weeks?
Right. Well, we're not getting the inside scoop on the medical report or what have you, but you got to think that if there was swelling on his knee, how much flexibility, how much power does he generate from it? hey, he looked pretty good on the screen pass against Texas A&M. He made some guys miss. He broke some tackles. And I'm sure he's not 100% who is at this time of the season in football, but probably getting closer.
So on the other side, Quinshon Judkins had his best game of the year. He's been dealing with injuries as well. How much more difficult does that make game planning for Kiffin and that offense when you're having to deal with a much better and much healthier Quinshon Judkins?
Yeah, he's powerful. He's a good downhill runner. It was just a straight-up shootout last year, and they had Zach Evans added 200 yards himself. So they had two 200-yard rushers, and Rocket ran for 200-plus. I watched a good bit of the second half against LSU last week. They challenge you in so many ways. They just have some toss plays where, they're trying to get seal blocks from their inside guys and let Judkins or Ulysses Bentley take on, like, here comes a nickel or here comes a safety, and if their receiver can hold the cornerback off, you're looking at some one-on-one stuff out on the edge. And I saw a lot of that against LSU, so Arkansas is going to get those quick tosses. And then they had the fake quick toss, and then the quarterback, Dart, would keep the ball through a gap up the middle. So Lane Kiffin runs a very, very challenging system. And as Sam Pittman pointed out with us yesterday, they'll come to the line. They're trying to go fast, but they'll come to the line, and if they see you in a certain alignment, they'll change and flood a zone with their receivers and kind of outnumber you. It's quite the task. You got to tackle well in space, and you got to read stuff quickly and react.
Yeah, Dart didn't have a great game against Alabama a couple weeks ago, but I think we could say that about a lot of QBs. Didn't have a great game against Arkansas last year. With him looking more in sync with this offense, I mean, what element does that also add, trying to cover Ole Miss and him particularly in the run game?
Well, they're just playing with a lot of confidence right now based off that one game. And I don't know what Kiffin was up to verbally, the way he talked about Alabama and who's calling plays on defense, but it didn't work. But their offense did show up the following week. And with Judkins seemingly healthier, with Dart in a rhythm, and them at home, there is going to be sometimes there's a little bit of an emotional lull after you get so up. And so Arkansas, that might be one thing to their advantage that Ole Miss feels like, well, we just beat LSU. Arkansas shouldn't be as tough. And so Arkansas has got to show up with a game plan they believe in and try to get on top of them to have a chance to win.
Hey, little side note here. What do you think now of LSU after watching their game with Ole Miss, looking at their defense, seeing them against the Razorbacks the week prior? Has your thoughts or opinion of LSU changed at all?
Well, it has. They're just not very good defensively, and it says so in the numbers. I think what they've done with Harold Perkins, tried to get him more on the inside, and I think they've tried to change that, but they're not near as explosive defensively as they had been. Ole Miss tore them up. Arkansas really moved the ball well on them. So, long way to go. They still have Bama to play too, and A&M. So it could be one of those years where Daniels and the offense, they look really good, but they're not playing complimentary football right now.
Yeah, but if they put it together, they're still in a position with beating Alabama and running the table the rest of the way. They could be a real problem down the road for the league. With 2 losses, they could still find their way to Atlanta.
Yeah, if they do get it together, that's for sure. We know that they're capable. But, Florida State beat them early on, too. And I don't know, Arkansas definitely had a chance. That was a fun game. That was where Arkansas was more on offensively, and you've got to hope that they are to have a chance against Ole Miss.
Another quick league question. A&M, Alabama this weekend. We got to see that A&M front really create problems the last 2 weeks, including Arkansas. Who do you think wins that game this weekend, Tom, in College Station?
Well, I had to pick it for our deal at the paper, and I picked A&M, and I know there might be a little recency bias in that, but I like what they're doing defensively. I mean, they really gave Arkansas problems the way they pressured KJ. No first downs in the second or third quarter. Max Johnson, you can think of him or look at him maybe as a caretaker type quarterback, but and they've got to get those meshes down because they gave Arkansas the ball once with a bad mesh. And then, of course, that was a nice hit by Jordan Crook on the helmet that led to the fumble. recovered by Brad Spence. But if he takes care of the ball, I think they've got enough in their offensive arsenal. Hopefully Evan Stewart is okay for them. When Evan Stewart was out of the game the other day, that's when Arkansas seemingly had a chance. He came back in the game, made a big play. Mm-hmm. That number 9 from them, I bet he dropped 3 or 4 passes. So he's got to tighten it up.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.